Hi, welcome back. I'm Brandy Schmidt. I am the owner and instructor at Repose LLC. You can find us on Facebook and now on OCTV. Thank you for joining us today. We're having a basic yoga class. This is for all levels of practice. If you've never done yoga before, you're in the right spot. I just like to remind everyone that you need to honor your body's limitations. If there's anything that we show you or offer, suggest, and it's just not right for you, sit it out. Do a posture that is right for you, or just do part of a posture. My intention and the real heart of Repose was just to get everyone in the community, no matter where you're at in your physical life, in your age, in your capabilities, that we get just a little more movement and feel better about ourselves and leave feeling that we're better than when we came. So thank you for joining us in Leonard, Michigan. I hope you enjoy the class. Good morning. Welcome to Repose with me, Brandy Schmidt. We are going to get into the second practice. If you saw our last episode, we worked on the fingers up through the shoulders. Today, we're going to get the lower part of the body. So if you want to do a 1 hour practice, I recommend starting with that one and then standing at the end. You're going to meet it standing to start today's practice, or the second half of the practice if you're going to do both. So nice tall stance, check in with the feet. We are focusing on lengthening and breaking up the areas of the body that we don't give a lot of attention to. Because it's fall and things are starting to get colder and we bundle up and start to tense up and bring it all in, we want to start coming back to these little aspects of what we do in our daily life, noticing how it changes. So a thought for us before we really get going is you might want to turn on some music. You might want to get cozy because we won't be moving big movements or very active movements for today's practice. We can wear a layer, we can bundle up a little bit, but I want your feet to be accessible. So take off your socks. If your socks are on for our hand and shoulders practice, we were able to keep our socks on and get cozy. So we're going to just take those socks off, give a little movement to the body, lengthen the spine, draw the shoulders down, open up those hands nice and wide, coming into that mountain pose again, and start to breathe deeply. Just close your eyes, bring the attention inward. All you did was slowed down, close your eyes, and breathe deeply, deep in through the nose, really fill the belly and lungs. Slowly exhale, slow the heart rate, squeeze the belly in. You are already doing yoga. Yoga is the connection of mind and body. Anyone can exercise, run, walk, anyone can stretch. Yoga is about bringing everything into the conscious awareness, living in the moment, an undistracted, focused moment. So this is why we start with these deep breaths in a simple pose. Just noticing how we stand is going to make all the difference in your feet, through the body. Where are our feet in relationship to our knees and our hips? I said this in the last class and I will say it again in case you didn't join us for that one, but our feet should be right under the knees. The knees should be directly under the hips. You think that you're standing that way, but when you really check and point down with these hands, you might find that you're wider or more narrow than your natural body really is. This is going to affect everything. Find it today. Find it every day. Lengthen. We're not sticking our butt out. We're not tilting our pelvis in or rounding our shoulders down. It's a conscious effort, especially when we're tired and it's been a long day, or we're tired because we didn't get enough sleep. We have to be conscious. We have to feel it. Spread your toes nice and wide. Feel each toe in the mat. Rock forward onto the toes of the ball. Rock back onto the heel. Just this little tiny movement. Be aware. Those toes need to grip the earth or your mat. And often our shoes are narrow. It's just how they're made, especially women's shoes. We want those nice pointed toes, but it squishes these toes. It affects how we walk. It affects our balance. So feel your way into it. Stretch the feet every day. Breathe. Inhale, arms come overhead. Nice gaze at the sky. Lift the chest and shoulders. Exhale, hands to the heart, and you're going to do this one more time to your own breath. Relax the shoulders down, spread the fingers wide. Feel your way into this stance. Soften the knees, slightly breathe. Inhale, arms come overhead, gaze at the sky. Stretch the rib cage and exhale to bow forward. Dangling again for about a minute. Don't count the seconds, just take about 5 deep breaths, tuck the chin in. You can sway. If there's a lot of tension in that early morning body, there might be a lot of tension in that evening body. You can just bend those knees a little more deeply. This is going to help release that real tight pull. Bring the chin deeper in. You might hold opposite elbows and just sway. We are stretching the back of the legs. We are taking tension off the back and spine. And we are feeling each of the toes in the mat. We are feeling how the feet balance and guide us. You are relaxing a little more with each exhale. Fall a little more deeply as things stretch out. You may stay here a little bit longer. Just pause the screen. When you're ready, inhale to peek up. Bring those fingers forward, bend at the knees, and you're going to walk back onto the mat. And I'm going to come sideways so you can see at home. As we come down onto the hands and knees, the first thing we're going to do today is bring those toes to the mat, curling all 10 toes under. And this can be a challenge for the baby toe, especially. You might be sticking up in the air. I know mine does. It helps to bring the knees a little bit wider here, and it allows us to kind of rotate onto that side. Just play with rotating the heels. Stretch every one of those toes. Try to get that baby toe into the mat. And then start to sink the hips back. You should feel more tension in the feet as you sink the hips back. If this is painful at any point, back off. You have your own leverage here. But if you're able to, we want to try to come all the way up. Bring those hands to the knees. Again, draw those shoulders back. Sit back. This is too much pressure on the knees. We can sit on a block to help elevate. It's just going to take some pressure off the knees in that posture. You can stack 2 blocks on top of one another. And if you don't have a block at home, you can use a pillow or roll up a blanket. You could even put that under or behind the knees to try to hold you up a little bit. So play with what you have available to you. Remove from pain, but breathe through the tension. I will tell you, this is not very comfortable. It's not meant to be. It's meant to stretch, and we are tight. And this is where we realize just how tight things have gotten. Breathe through tension, remove from pain. If you cramp, if the feet start to cramp, come out of this, stretch it out, drink some water. Just breathe. And then slowly start to lean forward onto those hands again. Feel the release of pressure from the knees. Walk forward a little bit more. Release the toes. Bring the tops of the feet to the mat, and we'll just take a moment here to sway the hips, just again to get some movement, blood flowing, release tension. Walk those knees under the hips a little more if you did spread the knees wider. With the tops of the feet on the mat, start to sit back again. Bow the head down just for a moment. This is just a release. Maybe you sway side to side. Inhale to rise. Walk the hands towards the body. We're now kneeling on the tops of the feet. Same thing we just did, only the toes aren't curled under. We're stretching the ankle from the top side. You might be feeling it in the tops of the feet. Lengthen the spine, just breathe here. Relax the shoulders down, just focus on the feet. And again, if the knees are very uncomfortable, we can go back to propping something under the knees or sitting on a block. Just trying to get into that upright position, holding it here. There are a lot of little bones and pressure points in the feet. They support us throughout the day, every day, and we need to give some love to that part of the body. And bring the hands down to the sides of the mat. And if this is not for you, come back to where we are right now, but start to bring those palms down if you're able to. You're gonna lean back, lifting the chest. One knee at a time, start to lift that knee up. You're stretching really deeply now, the top of the foot. If it's too intense, just bring it back down. Few breaths here. Switch to the other side. That left knee starts to lift. And you can walk those hands back as far as you need to feel supported in this pose. And breathe. Let the head drop back if you're able to relax enough. We just came out of stretching in the last episode, those shoulders. We don't want to recreate any tension if you don't have to. If you're able to stay nice and tall neck, then you can hold it here. But if you feel that tension building in the shoulders, go ahead and drop the head back. A few more breaths here. And exhale to relax the knee forward. Start to slowly walk those arms up. Or if you were really enjoying that stretch and you think you can take it further, you might take one more moment to lift both knees up. Now again, this is much more intense, so play with it. That'll be an option for you to try at home. Start to walk those hands forward. Release the pressure. Go ahead and tap out the feet. Maybe now you want to stretch, rotating those ankles. Bringing the toes back down to the mat, readjusting the knees under the hips, spreading the fingers nice and wide. And the reason we spread the fingers nice and wide here is one, we're stretching them, but two, you want to put pressure into the pinky and the thumb, and it's going to create a little pocket with the wrist to take pressure off the wrist. But another thing we can do if we have a lot of pain in the wrist is to come onto fists, or you could bring a block here and lay on the forearms on the blocks. Those are some options you can play with at home. And start to bring that right foot back, toes are curled under, press into the heel. We're stretching into the calf here. We're also stretching the foot. So these are some of the more common things we'll do in a normal basic yoga class that does bring some stretching to the feet that you don't realize, or maybe your instruction doesn't focus on telling you that you're stretching the feet because you feel it in the calf in this posture. A few deep breaths. And then just to bring the stretch up through the body and into the hip, you're going to take your right foot across to the left side. And then if you're able to, start to look over that left shoulder. You're going to be squeezing that left side body to look at the foot. So we're just stretching into that hip. Still curling the toes under, so you're still getting some stretch in the foot and the heel. deep breaths. And bring it back over to center. The knee comes down. Just a little swaying side to side again to release some of that stretch. Switching to the left side when you're ready. Left foot stretches back, toes curl under, pressing into the heel, stretching that calf. Breathe. Few more breaths, and when you're ready, you'll cross that left foot over to the right side. Feel that nice stretch in that right side hip. Start to squeeze to the left, looking over that right shoulder, looking at that left foot. Sorry, you're actually squeezing to the right, stretching the left side. I said that wrong. It happens. Yoga is part of recognizing that life is never perfect and we are never perfect. We're just trying to be better than we were this morning, yesterday. Just trying to be our best self. And it means letting go when we make mistakes, letting go of fear, letting go of anxiety, letting go of the tension that we carry in the body. And just accepting ourselves as we are. Start to bring that left foot back over. Knee comes down. We're going to sway those hips again this time, coming into some nice big rotations. So start to drop the hips over to the right, then back towards the heels. Notice the pressure on the tops of the feet, then to the left and up. Few nice deep rotations to your breath. Exhale as you go down and back. Inhale as you come up. And take your time. Notice where you're feeling it. What point in that rotation do you feel the stretch the most? One more to the right, and then you'll switch to the left. Pausing at the top of that table, and then exhale to the left and back. After that third rotation, back to that tabletop, we're going to come to a seated posture. So you can get there whatever way works for you. You might bring both feet to one side and start to sit back on the hip, or you might cross at the ankles and just walk your way back to allow the seat to come down and the feet will come out in front of you. Coming into this diamond shape, feet come together. This is a bound angle or Baddha Konasana. Lengthen the spine. We're just opening up the groin here. Again, lower body is the focus today. We can see the feet. Start to breathe in deeply if you're not already. Nice deep breath. Trying to tilt from the pelvis first, leaning forward, bringing those hands down. And then you can relax the shoulders. You're going to come into the feet with the hands, opening them like a book, looking at the inside of the foot, putting some pressure with the thumb on the inside of the foot and kind of rubbing up towards each toe, just like we did with the hands. If you joined us for that, you're going to rub through each toe individually, squeezing once you get to the top, just kind of pulling or pulling back, depending on what feels good for you. what you think you need, and then coming back to the inside. You'll start to feel those bones, and you'll follow it all the way up through the toe. And then a little bit of pulling or pulling back. And don't do this too quickly. Take your time, kind of hold that toe as you pull. Take a few breaths before you come back to the next one. Ending with the pinky toe. That one's hard to get. That darn pinky toe, it's so little and hidden. And then start to come back to the center of the foot, just kind of rubbing up through the ankles, up the leg. We're just squeezing, just allowing that squeezing to break up any tissue, get the blood flowing. And we have lymphatic fluid throughout the body. There's lymph nodes, mostly near the joints. So we're just massaging that. And if you didn't know, that lymphatic fluid is what helps us fight disease. So as it gets colder and we have more colds and flus going around because we're inside more, this is really an important aspect of our life that we ignore, that we might not realize. So start to come upright, draw the shoulders down. I'm going to bring the left foot in towards the body. Find some balance here on that left side because we're going to lift that right foot up. If you're able to bring it over the knee, you can adjust this seat however you need to feel balanced. This is a tricky one. We're going to try to bring the finger in between each toe. So as we get towards those littler toes, it gets a little more challenging. If you can't quite get your pinky finger between that baby toe, just do the best you can. It's not a perfect art here. We're going to bring those toes back, pulling them back with your fingers in between, kind of holding it for a few breaths. And then we're going to lift that foot, or maybe you have to cross the leg a little bit more. And it might be easier for you on a chair or elevated seated posture, especially if this doesn't work for your hips. And one other option would be to have that leg out straight. So that kind of mimics if I was in a chair, my leg would be down, and then I can kind of drape that leg over or foot over my lap. So from here, you're going to make some rotations of the ankles. Big rotations, pulling the foot forward and then pushing it back and around. So just take a few moments, rotating here. You might feel or hear a little snap and crackle. It's just your ligaments going under all of those bones. And again, those ligaments are what get really tight. They prevent our mobility. So that's why we really want to stretch into those holds that we started with. We want to hold them as long as we can to really stretch and lengthen those ligaments. And that Achilles tendon on the back of the heel. When you're ready, and again, like every video, you can always pause and spend a little more time here. We're going to switch to the other side, bringing those fingers out of the toes, lengthening, or bringing that right foot in to switch to the left, depending on which version of that seated posture you took. Bring the left foot up. Same thing, bring those fingers between the toes. Take a moment. The one nice thing about this pose is if your toes are getting cold, it brings a lot of warmth. Your hand can warm up those feet here. Start to press those toes back. A few breaths here. When you're ready, start to lift or elevate that foot. Make those rotations now. Begin to release the foot, release the fingers. Maybe you want to give a little more squeeze or warmth before you let it go. Start to stretch both legs out in front of you. Shake out the knees. Start to scooch towards the center of your mat if you haven't already done so. I'm going to come to lay back. I'm going to just grab to the back of my thighs and take those knees to the chest with me. Rocking here for a moment. And then we're going to reach these arms up. Start to spread the knees a little bit so you can reach towards the inside. This verbally is confusing for people. I'm going to try to walk you through it so you don't need to look at the screen. But the knees are going to be about as wide as the shoulders, but the feet are touching. So your hands come in and grab the outside of the feet. Start to pull the feet up towards the sky. And we're trying to keep the whole back nice and straight on the ground. You're going to feel a stretch in the groin and hip here. We're also elevating the feet. So the importance or significance of elevating the feet in any of our few postures that actually get the feet above the head is to allow the blood flow towards the body and the heart. And again, we are pulling the feet back, so we're stretching into the foot here as well as getting that nice deep hip stretch. And we call this happy baby because we always feel a little silly in this posture. Please smile and grin, laugh at yourself. You can rock side to side here. That nice flat back on the ground allows us to rock a little back massage while we open up the feet and hips and allow that blood to flow. And when you're ready, the feet just fold in. You can start to bring those knees together. Lift the feet up towards the sky. Again, just bringing that blood flow towards the body, taking all the pressure off the feet. Rotate and spread those toes nice and wide, and then squeeze them in tight. Bring all of that circulation back to the body, back to the feet, and start to squeeze as high as you can reach. And again, you can bend those knees to reach a little higher, maybe towards the ankles or heels. We're just going to squeeze from the ankle down towards the calf and then into the thigh. Just a little self-love, a little self-massage here. Spend as long as you like here, and when you're ready, the feet will start to come down, start to lengthen. As you come into Shavasana or rest, you might take one nice stretch overhead, pointing the toes, lengthening the entire body. Deep breath in and then exhale with the mouth. Bring those arms down to the side. Let the feet fall open. Close your eyes. Relax the face. Relax the hips. Allow the breath to become natural. Think warm thoughts. Thank you for taking time with me today and time for yourself. Focusing on feet and lower body. Hope to see you next week. Namaste.